Oh, hello, this is Tak Chung from Walk with Tak. Welcome to my YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. And many years ago, I was on a trip, and I met a chef, and his name is Danny. He owned a Vietnamese Chinese restaurant in Houston, Texas. We became friends, and we spent time to chat about many different things. And one of the things I talked to him often during the trip is about cooking. When I was a college student, I worked in a Chinese restaurant as a cook for about 6 weeks. So I became very interested in trying to learn from him how to cook really good stir-fry dishes. I remember one thing he tried to tell me is how important oil is in stir-fry. In fact, he told me that oil is probably the most critical factor in a good stir-fry dish. He said to me emphatically that stir-frying to be successful is a balance between not too much and not too little cooking oil. In this video, I would like to talk to you a little bit about the lesson that I learned from him of how much oil should you use every time when you do stir-frying. One common observation that I have is that everybody who does stir-frying try to use as little cooking oil as possible. So the question becomes is that should you use the same amount of cooking oil in all your cooking? The answer turned out to be more complicated than I expected. But you probably already guessed it, that different food ingredients will require different level of cooking oil to achieve the desired effect. Now in here is an example. I'm trying to do some shallow frying of some fish. This is a thinly sliced bluegill. And in order to achieve the effect that I want, I must have enough cooking oil because I coated the fish with a light breading of cornstarch. And without the cooking oil, the cornstarch will burn badly and therefore will not create the type of flavor and texture that I'm looking for. And so as you can see in here, I have excess amount of cooking oil in the wok. Now this method is known as shallow frying. As you look at here how this is being cooked, you can understand why deep frying is so effective. And because with deep frying, you don't have to turn the food ingredients over. Now the advantage of shallow frying is that now I can immediately add the other ingredients to the dish. In this case, I'm going to use a combination of asparagus and yellow squash. You probably noticed that as soon as I add these vegetable ingredients, the oil in the wok quickly becomes depleted. The reason is that the oil is absorbed by these vegetable ingredients. Now, it is still important for the oil to be present when I cook these vegetables because the oil will provide the temperature environment, which is somewhere between 250 to 300 degrees Fahrenheit in order for the Maillard reaction to occur on the surface of the food ingredients. However, because of the moisture in these food ingredients, the vegetables, therefore the temperature is significantly lower. As you can see here, we have a lot of steam coming out from the vegetable. This is simply due to the heat that caused the evaporation of the vegetables. So during this phase of cooking, the effect of the oil is not as significant as when it is cooking the fish. Therefore, depending on the type of food ingredients that you cook, in some cases you really don't need to add much oil at all because the oil is not going to do a whole lot for the cooking process. So as you can see in the beginning of the cooking process, when the oil temperature is high, the cooking is more effective on ingredients that are low in moisture. But once you start to add food ingredients that are high in moisture, the oil temperature is going to drop. And the stir frying then becomes less effective in creating flavors. So here you can see a balance between the type of ingredients that you cook with the amount of the oil that you use. In certain type of food ingredients, the presence of oil is important, like in the case of shallow frying. But in certain type of food ingredients where there's a lot of moisture, no matter how much oil you're going to put in there, it's not going to make a big difference. The amount of cooking oil that is required to cook vegetable could be also very different. In fact, this difference are quite surprising because some vegetables need almost no cooking oil to cook, but some other vegetables require a lot of cooking oil. Here is a good example of eggplant. Now, eggplant is an unusual vegetable because when you add eggplant to wok, you will find that the oil quickly depleted after you stir fry the eggplant only for about a few seconds. The ability of eggplant to absorb cooking oil is remarkable. Within a few seconds, the surface of the wok is depleted of oil. And at this point, I need to add more oil to prevent the eggplant from getting burned. As you can see here, now you find almost no oil on the surface of the wok. The appearance of the eggplant also undergo change. Now the eggplant will take on this translucent quality because of the oil that they have absorbed. And this turned out to be a very important aspect when you cook eggplant. Because of the oil that they absorbed, eggplant takes on very interesting flavor. And this flavor is very different in comparison to when the eggplant is softened by boiling in water. The flavor of the eggplant is richer and more flavorful. And the softness of the eggplant also plays a very important role. When you season the eggplant, it will absorb the flavor of the season much more efficiently. However, because now you have no oil on the surface of the wok, you don't have that insulation layer against the heat coming from the bottom surface of the wok. So the season will burn very easily onto the surface of the wok. This has some other important effect because now if I add another vegetable to the wok, there are no oil actually to cook the vegetable, and consequently that vegetable will get burned very easily. The temperature now gets so hot in the bottom of the wok, the burnt material start to accumulate, and in order to avoid that, I add water to it to clean up this burnt material. And since I add water, now I actually start steaming the vegetable instead of stir fry the vegetable. So in order to avoid that from happening, I could have added more oil. And this is the time when I come to the decision, how much oil should I add? So it is this kind of decisions, it will affect the taste and the texture of the dish. Because if I continue to cook the dish with oil versus as what I'm doing now by steaming the dish with water, the outcome could be very different. When I cook this dish, I decided I'm going to add water to steam the dish. And the end result is that the flavor of the green bean is going to be quite different if I have used oil to cook the dish. So as you can see that when you stir fry a dish, there are decisions that you can make whether you should add water or continue to add oil to finish up cooking the dish. So stir frying might appear to be simple on the surface, but there are a lot of decision points that you can alter the outcome of the dish and lead to distinct change in flavor and texture. So the conclusion is that when you cook different type of food ingredients, there are different requirements of the amount of cooking oil that you need. For some dishes, you need to start out with more cooking oil than the others. For example, when you stir fry egg, you always need more cooking oil because egg absorb oil rapidly, and if you don't have enough cooking oil, the egg will get burned. In some other type of dishes, you can start up with a small amount of cooking oil and see how things go. You can always add more cooking oil as you cook, and this is the reason I always keep my cooking oil in a squeeze bottle. This will allow me to add more cooking oil as needed. So as you can see, a stir frying might seem to be simple, but it actually has a lot of nuances. I post a video each day to help you to become an expert in stir frying, so that you can continue to improve the flavor and texture of your dishes. With my fast cooking system, you can make home cooking practical, efficient, creative, and fun, so you can make it as part of your daily routine. If you want to learn more about my cooking system, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. So keep on cooking. I will see you tomorrow.